Hi everyone, it's Marianne, and I'm here today with kind of a different type of tutorial, more of an idea oriole, if you will. One of the founding members of our Happy Paper People group on Facebook, Julie Parker, told me that she has a weekend away coming up, and she'd like to take some things with her to craft, to work on. Not a ton of stuff, something small, but was looking for new ideas of things to pack, how to pack them, what to take with her, what kind of small things she could take for traveling. Well, I do this frequently because we have a camper, and so we'll go camping for a weekend or a week or whatever it is. And in fact, this coming weekend, as Julie's getting ready to leave, we are also going away for a 4-day weekend. So although it's kind of a week, during the week, not a week. It's during the week, not a weekend, but same period of time. So I was pulling some of my things together anyway. So I thought I'd share with you some ideas of some of the things that I typically take with me. Now, there's a lot of things and a lot of ways to pack them. I pulled together 6 of them, and I'll show you 6 of them. And if there's a great interest, then let me know if you'd like to see more, and I can do another video with additional ones, but I didn't want to get into too many. In fact, a lot of people when they travel like to take just one thing to do, so that they have just one thing that they know they're going to work on if they have time, when they have time. I personally always think it depends on where I'm going, why I'm going, what our purpose is, and if I know what kind of time I'm going to have, or if I'm unsure what kind of time I'm going to have. That might determine how many different things I take. So you can take any one of these, or if you're like me and you like to have some options, you might take 2 or 3 or 4 or however many. So I have 6 different things here. Let me show them to you one by one. All are simply packed and easy to use. We'll start with this great big one here. This is just a plastic container. In fact, I think this is a Totally Tiffany, and it has pages, I guess, for lack of a better word, that go down in it, and those pages have strips on them where you could stick dies in or other things. So I've ended up using this for many different things, everything except the dies that it was originally intended for. It's a great size. It's long, it's a little over 1 inch wide, and holds a lot, but doesn't take up a lot of space, and it's got a handle. So, okay, in here I have a kit that is all ready to do a couple of things. Okay, starts out with book pages, and you could use book pages or music pages. And my purpose with the book pages is because I can do several different things with it. First of all, with a glue stick, I can glue them together. So here's an example of this is 3 pages glued together, and this one is 4 pages glued together. And so I can sit somewhere and I can just glue pages together, and as they're glued together, I like about 4, maybe 5, depending on the thickness of the book pages, to then cut into tags. Today, when I'm traveling, I don't really focus on tags, but that's just kind of an aside, that gluing these together and then cutting out tag shapes is really easy and makes really awesome tags. What I like to do is glue these together and then take one punch with me. If your punch is smaller, maybe you can take a couple, depending on what you pack it in. I really like it in something small, so I'll just take this one. And then what I'll do, it depends on how I want that to go, after I glue them together, and be sure to let them completely dry. If they don't completely dry, you're going to gum up your punch, and you don't want to do that. Then I punch out butterflies. Okay, now I would also cut this off because this could be used as a stencil or a screen before it's disposed of. You know, can't use it too many times. It will just fall apart. It's paper. And then I'll go up to the next level here, and I'll cut me a couple more butterflies. So I would just sit down and start gluing pages together. And as I glue them together, as I'm progressing gluing them together, the first ones are going to dry. So then I can come back to the first one and just cut out these butterflies. And then I take just my vintage photo and inker, and which side, or both sides. If I don't know which side I want to use, I can do both sides, but I can just sit there and ink the edges. Okay, and so when I finish, then I've got all these butterflies inked, completely ready to go. Now, if I know I'm going to have some time and I've got a lot of space, I might even take a container with a bunch of different colors of the mini Distress inks, and I might do some of these in other colors to go in different types of projects. So all I do is ink them, okay? So then when I come back, or when I'm done, they just get thrown back in here. First I'll put my book pages in. Keep the ones that I didn't use with them. Okay, put my book pages in. And I closed my punch. I'm going to put my punch in, because that's the next biggest thing. Then I'm going to take all these. And so when I take these home, and I would just have a whole bunch of these already inked up, they're ready to go. If I'm working on a project, I can take them, and if I want to add a little color to them, I can. If I want to add some bling at the body, I can do that, or some bling on the antenna. But they're cut, and they're thick enough. With 3 or 4 book pages are just like the perfect thickness. So they're ready to be embellished and add to any project. So I'll just slide those down there. They're not going to get destroyed at all. I always put a rubber band on my ink when I'm traveling, only when I'm traveling. I don't want the lid to get bumped off and have it dry out on me while I'm traveling. That would not be fun. Okay, let's see if that... I didn't put that inside the clip. I put it only partially underneath it, and those are the same size. So if I do that, then I've got room to slide that right down there. And oops, I want to take that home too. So I'm going to keep that stamp in there. And there's my pack. Okay, that's all you need. That's all I need. I might stick a small pair of scissors in there with it, like I have in here. I'm going to take both of these, so I've got one pair of scissors, so I won't worry about it. But, you know, even a pair like this could easily slide. But I like to keep it as lightweight as possible. Okay, but you can do a lot with that. Even if you wanted to take the scissors and cut out tag shapes, you could, and then you could go around the tags and have them ready to go. Okay, the second one, this is also a Totally Tiffany bag. I like a lot of Totally Tiffany products. This bag, it's a nice plastic bag, and it's got a clear, firm center that helps it keep its shape. But in here, I've got 2 rolls of wallpaper border that have things on them that I want to fussy cut to have ready to use. This one especially, it's got these flowers, and I want to fussy cut these and have these flowers ready to go, so when I want to use one, I don't have to stop and cut them out, because that's kind of a pain. So those are a couple that I had already cut last time, and there's the roll of those, and here's another roll if I get bored with that and want to do something about fishing. That one's there too, and my fussy cutting scissors, and boom, that's it, ready to go. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3 is just a mixed media or watercolor, or really any kind of drawing book. And on this book, I will stamp images. Well, hi, Lucy. I will stamp images of just stamps that I have. Any old stamps, depending what I'm feeling like. These are some I stamped last time. There's some Julie Nutting stamps. And, oh yeah, I think I'll work on those this time. Work on some different ways to shade roses. That was the first time I stamped the stamp, brand new stamp, and there's the second time. Definitely got a better image there. Same thing, first time I stamped that stamp, and the second time. So I will, before I leave, I don't want to drag all those stamps with me. Before I leave, I will stamp anything that I'm feeling like I might want to color in here. And I think I need some new images, something that I'm in the mood for. There's one that was torn out of the last book and put in here. I've colored both of those a couple of times, but I wanted to try some different techniques on them, so I have one left of each one of them that I'll put in there. All right, and then I have this piece of chipboard, and whatever page I'm working on, I put it underneath that page as I'm coloring on that. So I'll take this and a package of colored pencils, which I thought I had right next to me, but I don't. So I've got multiple kinds of colored pencils, also markers. You could also take markers and put them in a container similar to this, or a baggie. They do great in like a gallon baggie like that. This is a quart, but in a gallon one, markers would be great in that. And so that's all you need is the book and the markers or the pencils. And that can keep you entertained for quite some time. Okay, so that's 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, the fourth thing is this. And this is just an old container from something else. And these are metallic colored pencils and metallic markers. So the only thing that's in here is metallic, except for, I believe that there is a white gel pen down there somewhere. I'm sure that there's a white gel pen. And I take that with me, and I would have the colored pencils with my other notebook. So then I have regular colored pencils and I have the metallics. Or I'll have a container like this and I'll put a pack of colored pencils in it, and I'll put some markers, maybe just, you know, choose 5 or 6 colors of markers to take with me. And then in this traveler's notebook, what I have, a couple of things. I will have a notebook with black paper. I will have one with white paper. Here I have just a couple of 3 black markers. One's a brush, one's a chisel, and one's a fine tip that I could write with. And this one I believe is an India ink. And then in this one, which is pockets, I have small stencils, all different kinds of stencils. There's all kinds of shapes. There's fun ones, there's butterflies. And on this side, there's some chevrons, some you know, real small ones, some bigger ones, smaller ones, all different kinds of designs on them. It's an erasing shield, but it also works as a stencil. There's a pretty one. Okay, so then with these stencils, I can work in these small books and try out techniques, or basically just doodle. If you've ever watched any of Diane, what's her name? Diane from Dylusions, Diane Wakefield. She has a couple of really good videos on doodling, and that's where I would just doodle, and I thought, well, it almost feels kind of wasteful. And then I watched her video and watched how she doodles, and she keeps a book like this that she carries with her on the plane all the time. And she shows how she does her doodles in here, and her doodles actually are pretty cool pieces of art. So on the black, the metallic pencils and markers show up really great. And some of them also show up on the white, but the regular colored pencils and regular markers is what I use on the white. And a white gel pen in with those, because the white gel pen on the black is really cool as well. But you can doodle up a storm and some really fun things with all these different stencils. And that, I just put a new notebook in there, so it's ready to go for me this weekend. Okay, so there is number 4. Okay, number 5 is this little container right here, which has an entire kit for making lace flowers in it. Show you what I've got. Lace flowers like this. There's one, there's another. Here's one that I haven't put a center in yet. It might be all the finished ones. Yeah, okay. So that's an example of the lace flowers to make with these. I've got some thread. That one looked like it might be getting a little bit low, so I grabbed another white and just used these bobbins. That I don't like these plastic bobbins in my machine, so I'm just going to use them up this way. So all I need is white and black, because white and black will go with every color of lace I have. It doesn't even matter what color it is. You can use either white or black with it. And as you can see, by the time you finish it, you've covered up that center hole with a button or a gem, and that's the only place you have thread. So it's not seen anyway. And if you attach it to something, you know, as you're journaling or making your journals, then you wouldn't see the bottom, so you wouldn't see thread, even if it was the wrong color. So I've got a pack of buttons. If I feel like it, putting the buttons or gems in the center, some flat back pearls, and a whole variety of buttons there, different colors, different sizes, different styles. And I don't have to. I could wait until I go to use them and see what I need for that particular project. So if you haven't made these before and aren't sure how to make them, and I've got one needle, you probably saw that needle on there. If you aren't sure how to make them, I will be posting a tutorial shortly. In fact, I'm going to try to get that up by tomorrow for Julie, in case she decides to take a small pack of lace with her to make flowers. Then she would know exactly how to do it. Any lace that has the gather with the ruffle on the one side, you know, a lot of times we don't know what to do with those. People don't really like to use them a lot. But if it's sewn on one side so that it's gathered and then has the ruffly, those are perfect for these flowers. Those are the best ones to use for these flowers. So, okay, so that's my flower making kit, and that's in a tiny, tiny little, and that's just, you know, hand stitching. You could do that in the car if you want. Some people like to work as their partner's driving. Some people don't. Get those flowers back under there. Those 2 flowers in, even a tiny pair of scissors to cut my thread. And there's an entire flower making kit right there. Okay, so that's number 5. Number 6 is this. It's very thin, so it could fit into another bag, slide under a seat. But this is a card base making kit. I have a large bin full of strips. These are strips that's like the branding strip that comes on the top of paper. You can see by the perforations there that that's what that one is. Strips that have been cut off as I used the piece of paper, and that's just the little end that got cut off. but strips of all sizes and shapes. Well, shapes, they're all rectangle, but some might be thinner, some might be thicker, some are longer, some are skinnier. Doesn't matter. And I really like the double-sided ones because then I have 2 options to choose from. This is a strip from a cork board, and or cork paper. That's why I kept it, because it is cork, and I thought that would be cool to put on something as well. This is the whole branding strip chunk off the top of a little notepad. So, or a paper pad. All right, so in here, in this kit, and this is basically what I do with them, just glue them down. You can glue them diagonally. They're not some of my favorite, but there's some that were sitting here. You can glue them diagonally, you can glue them horizontally, vertically, any which way you want. So these were kind of kept in color families. These weren't. They were coordinating, but not all in the same color family. And then, so I've got scissors if I need to, when one comes out here, I need to clip it off, even with the card. And all I do is use index cards. Doesn't even matter if the index cards are used because they're going to be covered up. I use the lined side I use the flat side so the lined side can be used for journaling and have lines to write. However, in a situation where, like this, there is some writing on the lined side, I'll use the lined side and then leave the solid side to write on. Doesn't even matter. So I have a stack of index cards here. I've got my glue stick. I've got my paper strips to glue on and a scissor to, let's see, this one says Merry Christmas. If I'm doing one that has Christmas patterns on it, then I can take that and I can put that in as one of them. That looks pretty nice. So everything is there that I can just pull this out, and actually it acts as a little desk itself if you're doing it in the car or if you're sitting somewhere on the beach or wherever you might be sitting. What do I use these for? Here's an example of one that was done in shades of purples, diagonally, and then was turned into a tag. There you can see the index card on the back. Just turning it into a simple tag. Anything you want to do with those. You could use it as a card base. So you'd have a card and then you put that on it and then you put something else in the middle of it so you get the layered effect with, the variation. So that, my friends, is number 6. So we have number 6, which is the index card making kit. Number 5, which is the sewing kit. Number 4, which is the doodle kit. Number 3, which is the fussy cutting kit. Number 2, which is the coloring kit. And number 1, which is the book page kit. So there's 6. There's 6 to choose from. I am curious, when you travel, what do you take, or do you take? Do you not like to take things with you and work on them? But if you do, leave me a comment down below and let me know, what do you take with you when you travel? How do you pack it? And if there's something that you would like to be able to take with you, but you haven't quite figured out a great way to pack it, leave me a comment with that as well, because I've got 5 or 6 more floating around my head that I rotate when I go out of town, taking with me. And your question might be one that I take, and if not, I love the challenge of trying to figure out a great way to take that with you. So thanks for joining me today. I invite you to join us on Facebook in the Happy Paper People group. I'll be back soon with another tutorial. Until then, stay curious and try something new.